In Moscow, Patriarch Kirill prays under an image of Putin, while Ukraine has begun work on a modern translation of the Bible. The world seems to forget the tragedy of the Sudanese, but Father Tobias Breyer from Duisburg does not forget the needs of the disabled. How did Panama deal with the aspirations of a Canadian corporation? Does the Lutheran Advent differ from the Catholic one? News Service, Safira Radio. Friday, the first day of December, we invite you.
The Episcopal Conference of Panama supported protests the government's contract with the Canadian company First Quantum Minerals for open-pit copper mining. Protesters, concerned about the health of indigenous people and the state of the ecosystem, blocked roads, paralyzing life in the country. The bishops expressed satisfaction with the Supreme Court's decision to annul the contract and lamented the government's failure to engage in dialogue with society. The conference president, Bishop Rafael Valdivieso Miranda, emphasized the citizens' right to reliable information from the authorities.
Today in Paris, 600 French seminarians are gathering. Organizer Father Thomas Poussier notes that this is a sign of hope for the Church in France. It is evidence that God still calls young men to service. The participants will be accommodated by 300 Parisian families. On Saturday, the seminarians will conduct evangelization on the streets of the city, and in the evening, they will gather in the Basilica on Montmartre.
The world has forgotten the drama of Sudan. The prolonged conflict dramatically affects the lives of residents of one of the poorest countries in the world. Due to clashes between the government military and rebels, over 6 million people had to leave their homes. A missionary, who wishes to remain anonymous for safety reasons, speaks of the dramatic conditions in which people live, the lack of humanitarian aid, and systematic attacks on churches.
In Moscow, during the Jubilee 25th World Russian People's Council, meetings were held under the theme, The Present and Future of the Russian World. The ceremony began with a prayer and anthem under a huge image of President Vladimir Putin. The main speeches were delivered by Putin and Patriarch Kirill. The council, established 30 years ago, includes people of various worldviews, always led by the Patriarch of Moscow.
Archbishop Sviatoslav Shevchuk has begun the project of translating the Holy Scriptures into contemporary Ukrainian. This fulfills the resolutions of the Synod of Bishops of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church. The project will span 10 years and includes translations from the original languages, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. The goal is to edit and publish an accessible translation of the Bible for contemporary readers.
Father Tobias Breyer from Duisburg, known as the Marathon Father, will participate in the White Continent Marathon in Antarctica in January. His participation in this extreme marathon aims to raise funds to buy sports wheelchairs for children from a special school in Oberhausen. Father Breyer, who previously ran in Oman and Togo, will be one of 20 international participants in the marathon. His goal is to collect about €13,000 for 5 new wheelchairs.
The Lutheran Advent, lasting 4 Sundays, begins the new church year and is a time of waiting for Christ's coming. In Lutheran tradition, this period is associated with preparation for Christmas and working on spiritual transformation. During Advent, weekly services are adorned with liturgical purple. Symbols of Advent include wreaths with 4 candles. In Lutheran homes and churches, meetings, retreats, and fairs take place. The Advent calendar and the ecumenical action of the Christmas aid work for children are widespread. During this time, children prepare Christmas stars for the elderly, and Advent stars symbolizing Jesus Christ are lit above altars.
This was the news service from Safira Radio. Catholics, Orthodox, and Protestants together. May God bless us all.